The Garden Report is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
All right, back at TD Garden, Boston Celtics beat the Rockets 145-113. But before the game started, all eyes were on former Celtics head coach Ime Udoka. I'm Josue Pavon. He is Bobby Manning. Ime making his return to Boston for the first time since the 2022 NBA Finals. And as we both predicted, Bobby, didn't say a whole lot, but he did give us this little insight about the suspension and, of course, the backlash, everything that happened. And here's what he had to say before the game.
Well, I talked about it, obviously, when it happened, and then, obviously, in my press conference leading up to Houston. But, job not finished, the relationships you build and the people you impact. And so, yeah, that'd be the biggest thing. And, is you formed a lot of relationships within a year, and obviously wanted a chance to run it back and do it again with the group that you feel you could build and grow with. And so, letting the people down. And I talked about the players, the relationships I built with them, the coaches that came with me, and then everybody else that was impacted by it. And so from there, that's the biggest thing I would say overall is, letting some people down for sure. But we've talked it out, and I've seen a lot of these people throughout the summer and talk regularly, and so we've moved past it.
So, again, not much of a surprise there. I didn't expect him to completely just elaborate on the suspension and, go down memory lane, of course, but he did talk about the fact that guys like the leaders of the team, like Tatum and Brown, they knew a little bit of what was going on, right? Or they knew not to say exactly the details of their conversation, but clearly these guys were in the know that Ime was essentially suspended, right?
Yeah, pretty blunt as he usually is with his responses. And the most interesting news of the night, I thought, even though not super revelatory, is that he did reach out to the people he felt like he let down pretty quickly in terms of the players after the suspension, while many thought he was barred from communicating with them. And Jason Tatum had said that at the All-Star game, that he was keeping in touch with him throughout the season, throughout the suspension. I think he might have been gone by that point, officially fired by the organization once Joe Mazzulla became the head coach. But it seems like, of course, without knowing the specific timing, he reached out to players after the suspension and explained what happened, what they need to know, and gave them some closure while apologizing for putting the team in the position that he did here. And again, conciliatory, taking responsibility for what he did tonight, and said the biggest regret about how his time in Boston ended were the people he let down. And obviously a very big focus on the players who he said he still has strong relationships with, talked to throughout the summer in LA. And I think that said a lot in that, all right, the organization might have banished me, but the players didn't.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we all got the sense that that was the case. And, seeing him at Marcus Smart's wedding over the summer, I think that spoke volumes as to the kind of communication that he has with Marcus. And, of course, guys like Tatum and Brown who have opened up before and saying that, yeah, we still speak to one another, but obviously things are different. I'm just looking at this thing from his perspective, and that he's not going to be completely honest and say, like, hey, coming back into this building, I'm thinking about the finals and what could have been and all that stuff, because I'm sure naturally you have to have those emotions, you have to have those feelings. I mean, you saw Steph Curry and these guys celebrating a championship on your floor, and you obviously had no idea. I know I'm obviously talking to Ime, right? He had no idea what was going to happen 3-4 months later, right? I mean, even up until media day, he must have had this whole thing planned out, how he was going to approach training camp, and for all that to come to a stop the way it did, again, you can't walk into this building and not have some one of those emotions flowing through you.
We got punked, Josue. That's what Ime
yeah, that's what Ime would say. You're right. You're right, especially Game 6. Yeah, something certainly did get punked.
I was surprised he didn't say that tonight, but yeah, didn't get the job done. Again, another regret that he had from this, and it extends, right?
And he stopped himself from calling it a great season to a good season, which I thought was interesting, because most people look at that and say that was a great season. Sure, you fell 2 wins short, but as Ime said, they didn't get the job done.
Yeah, and he's cross paths with Marcus Smart and Grant Williams since before this reunion.
Right.
So even that further breakdown of the roster, shuffling of the roster that happened after that finals loss, another example that you're not necessarily going to be back. Ime suspended, Grant, Smart, gone, short of the finals last year. This is a group that, as Ime said, took some steps off that run to the finals there, but wasn't able to finish the job. And frustrating, I'm sure, for him to not be part of that next year and still not be part of this here. He's got a much earlier, younger team in their rebuild. I know someone asked him pregame about the similarities. I don't see many here. This is a team that he has to be on top of in terms of developing guys, getting them skill-wise where they need to go. This Celtics team, as far as skill and talent goes, had what it needed when he got here. It was just about that extra push, and he's giving it to this team too. I talked to one of their guys, Aaron Holiday, over there, and saying that tough love, any coach is going to bring that here, but he's starting to implement that system. Obviously, they're in the playoff picture right now at West, which is super impressive given where they've been.
No question.
But I don't think there's going to be any finals matchup between him and the Celtics this year, after he made it in his first year in Boston here. But maybe in a couple of years, that group will be up to the level that they're able to reach a finals against a perennially contending Celtics team here. That would be interesting, of course.
Yeah, they certainly made tremendous strides, and we'll see what these two have in store in a week from Sunday when they play again down in Houston. Celtics heading down to Texas. Was it Dallas, Houston?
Houston, Dallas.
Houston,
and then,
Dallas, rather.
Miami.
Back to back, and then Miami. But first things first, right? The Toronto Raptors Monday night. And that's when our coverage continues. But in the meantime, head over to clnsmedia.com for all of our continuous coverage, as well as our YouTube channel. We'll have all of our press conferences posted, including Ime Udoka and what he had to say after this loss, talking about the Celtics, of course, and what the Houston Rockets need to do to make sure that this doesn't happen again when these two teams meet down in Houston. That's going to do it for us here at TD Garden. He's Bobby Manning. I am Josue Pavon. The Boston Celtics beat the Rockets 145-113. 19-0 here at TD Garden. They will travel to Toronto before coming back home Wednesday night. In the meantime, of course, CLNSmedia.com and on YouTube at CLNS Media and Celtics All Access.
The NFL season is wrapping up, and there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.